Hello everybody, welcome back to Bare Basic Tech. Today we're going to be doing a quick video on the input function. The input function is used to take input from a user, right? So what that kind of input could be, for example, as I'll show you today, is you could use it to input numbers into a calculation or input a string to a variable you want to use later. Anything that you will want your program to ultimately utilize for one purpose or another, some kind of a custom input you want your program to see and use and treat as a variable, right? So the syntax is really simple. To prompt it, you essentially just write input, and then in the parentheses, you would write some kind of a prompt. And so this is what you are going to see show up in the console when you run the program, is this string right here, which is basically to prompt the user to put in some kind of an input, right? So in my first example, I have a variable which the user's response will be ultimately stored to, and that's going to be called user input. But then when we run the input line here, it's going to ask us to please provide input, and then once we do that, it'll store it as user input, right? Just stop that. Okay. So let's go ahead and test this out. So please provide input. Hello world. And now it'll print your input was, and then whatever I just typed, right? Just to show you guys. So your input was hello world, just as it was up here, right? So note that the input that I put in here is a string, right? So when it adds that together, it works. So let's go to example 2 now, where let's go ahead and add two numbers, make a simple calculator, basically, right? So it's going to ask us for our first number that we're going to add together. So please enter first number, and then the second number as such. And then it's going to take the first and second number and add them to a stored variable called sum, and then it's going to print sum so we know what the sum of the two variables is. So let's try it out and see what happens. So enter the first number to be added, let's say 3. And then the second number, let's say 4, and that should be 7, right? 34, no. Now why did it print that? And that's because, again, like I said earlier, when you use the input function, it's going to treat your input as a string. So what happened here is it takes 3 as a string and 4 as a string. And when you add two strings together, you're just creating, essentially, you're just mushing them together, so to speak, right? So like concatenating is the formal word. So therefore, 3 and 4 mushed together gets you 34. So what we have to do here to get this to do what we want is we need to change the data type from a string to an integer, which I'll do here. If anything about data types confuses you, I have a video on that as well I can link. But essentially just realize I'm changing this from a string, so quote unquote 3, to now it'll be just a solid number 3. Same with this. Instead of quote unquote 4, it would be a number 4. And then it'll add 3 as a number and 4 as a number and give you a number-based calculated sum. And then when you print that, you should get what you want this time. So let's go ahead and run it again. Let's give it another try. So first number 3, second number 4, and we get 7, which is what we kind of expected. So that's all I have for you today, guys. Pretty simple tutorial. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you like the video. That's all I got. Thanks. Bye.